Hello, this is Mrs. Pullen again for lesson 1.02 in AP Statistics. We're going over the example 3, so something similar. The 2A table shown below shows the survival status by class of travel from the Titanic luxury liner. And so they give you the number of passengers in each class who survived and who died. And we want to see if there's a relationship between survival status and class of travel. So from the organized data, we're going to create a conditional distribution of survival status by class. So that means the explanatory variable, unlike the previous problem, which was gender, is now whether or not you're in first, second, or third class. So I'm just going to highlight that just so it's easier to see. So we're looking at first, second, or third class. So to calculate the conditional distribution, remember the condition goes in the denominator, so in this case first class would be in the denominator, so the number of the conditional distribution of those who survived given you're in first class is going to be 197 over 319. And that rounds to 0.618. And those that survived, given they were in second class, would be 94 out of 261. And that's equal to 0.36. So I want you to put the video on hold, and I'd like you to complete the chart. Okay, so this would be 0.241. You're double checking your work. This is 0.382. This is 0.64. And this is 0.759. And make sure that you know how to calculate that conditional relative frequency chart. Okay, so now we want to go ahead and we want to create a segmented bar graph. So notice that the explanatory variable of the condition is on the x-axis. So approximately 62% of the first class passengers survived, and that means the rest died. 36% of the second class passengers survived and 64% died. And then about 24% of third class passengers survived and the rest died. So the question is there a relationship or an association between the class of travel and whether or not you survived? Or is one class more likely to survive versus another class? And yes, there is an association. We can see that a higher percentage of first class passengers survived compared to second and third class. So yes, based on the graphs, we can see an association between class and survival status. And again, you have to respond to the problem, and then you have to give a justification. And you don't need to give 2 justifications, but you have to give at least 1. So I said, if a passenger was in first class, they were more likely to survive. If a passenger was in third class, they were more likely to die. Now, before we continue, we're going to recreate that in Staplet. So again, go into Clever, make sure to press this Staplet button. We're dealing with 1 categorical variables and multiple groups. What I'd like you to do is put the video on hold, and again, the groups would be the same thing as the explanatory variable, so the first, second, and third, and then the the variable you would put on the rows and enter the data. Okay, we're back. So now you want to begin the analysis, and there is the segmented bar graph that you first created by hand, so you know how to do it both ways. And again, you can see clearly that there was a larger proportion of first-class passengers that survived compared to third class. But there's actually another type of graph, and that's called something called a mosaic plot. So let's go back to the lesson for a minute. So a mosaic plot is actually a modified segmented bar graph where the width of each bar is proportional to the number of individuals in each group. So like if we go back to the original data, we can see that there are many more third-class passengers compared to first and second-class passengers. So we can actually create the proportion of the total passengers that were first, second, and third. So 319 out of 1,207 passengers were first class. Just so you see where the numbers are coming from, 197 over 319. I'm sorry. 319 out of 1,207. So the total of the first class over the total of all passengers. And for second class, it's 261 over 1,207. And that's 216. And then the third class passengers, that was 627 over 1,207. And so that's almost 52%. So the segments vertically are the same as in the mosaic plot. What's different is that the width has been changed. So from 0 to about 27, that's first class, and then you're adding on another 0.216. So let me add this way. Sorry about this. I don't have a calculator in front of me. So about 49%. And then the rest is the third class passengers. So you can see there not only did more of them die, but more of the overall total number of passengers died because they were mainly third class passengers. So this is another type of plot. We see this a lot in psych studies and maybe politics when they're doing polling. This type of graph is used a lot. Well, I hope these videos are helpful, and I will see you on Monday.